Welcome, welcome. We are live. We are back. Welcome to the H&M Sports Academy. My name is Mo. I'm back in the middle of the week here, getting ready for another weekend. And we're going to do a quick preview tonight. We're going to talk about the big game between the New York Jets and the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys will be traveling on the road to MetLife Stadium, the best reputation, but we're going to show up anyway, and we're going to play this game here on Sunday. So we got the Jets, who are at this stage 0-4. We have the Cowboys, who are 1-2-1, and traveling on the road to do so. Quick, I'll jump into a shorter injury list than the Cowboys do, but they got some guys out. I think the big injury for them is their the running back Braylon Allen.
Yeah, Braylon Allen
is out. Right. They had a nice little 1-2 punch, and they had him out, so they had to bring in Khalil Herbert, a former Chicago Bear.
Right.
And a Virginia Tech, a former college player of Virginia Tech, but he's a good running back, solid running back, a guy I was looking at last year when we were looking at running backs. So he's very solid. They're going to bring him in. And he's a similar type of back as Allen. Not as explosive and stuff, but he had a nice combo. So he's out and had a nice. He took a little guy with all the speed. Kavontae Turbin is out. He'll probably sit this game. Got a foot injury, sprained foot, just kind of popped up after the game last week. So there could be an opportunity for Jaden Blue to jump into the lineup this week and start to get some run for both for special teams as well as some from the line of scrimmage. Yeah, you got Tyler Smith. He had a little bit of an injury, lower body, but I think he's going to be okay. And you got some people coming off of injury. Kalen Carson at cornerback, Jonathan Mingo at wide receiver. So we hope to get those guys back. So they're starting to get healthy, but also dealing with some people going off. You got Miles Sanders, who's also banged up with an ankle, which is another reason why Jaden Blue might get a chance to get some run this week. So a lot of moving parts here for the boys. And the Jets got some injuries too. Of course, them being an 0-4 team, they're looking to bounce back here. If you had a quick synopsis there on the Jets side, they're coming in, not having won a game. What are you seeing here on your end there, Harry? As far as the Jets are concerned, what are they thinking about coming into this game 0-4?
Yeah,
we're trying to get a win at their home stadium.
Yeah, I think for me, Aaron Glenn is it's different, man. You go from trying to assimilate and install and put into place what you did in Detroit and bring it over to New York. And I'm just, I was reading through and kind of looking and listening to some of his pressers here lately. And that New York media is a beast, man. They are relentless. And I'm really interested to see if he can stay true to who he is as a coach and what he's trying to establish, from a culture standpoint in New York. The defense is probably the worst side of the worst of all three phases right now, which is surprising, right? Normally, you think you get an expert head coach and a high-level defensive coordinator, your defense would be more buttoned up than what it is. So I think internally he's fighting against that. And then you throw on top of, like I said, the environment and the expectations of the New York Jets and the fans, the media, they really coming down on him this week. I was surprised at how quickly, he's being held to the fire. African-American coach, so we always know how that goes too, right? At least a little bit shorter, He met with Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy, everybody knows Tony. Really, really, he's a mentor. Talked to Aaron Glenn this week just to give him confidence, to let him know, a lot of great coaches started off, Chuck Noll, Bill Walsh, Dan Campbell, 10-1, his first 11 games in Detroit. 4-19.
Sure
and
did.
won over the first 2 years. And you and I know we remember very clearly there were talks of firing Dan Campbell, right? So I say all that to say, coming into this game, I wouldn't have thought it would be this much pressure and this much, urgency. So I'm gonna issue a little bit of a caution and a warning to Dallas because I said it was a get right game in our last show that we did. I think the expectation is Dallas should walk in and walk all over these guys. I think the urgency is going to be very heightened in New York. I think you're going to probably get one of their best efforts. They know it's anytime you play the Cowboys, you're prime time, so you understand the natural uptick in performance. It's like the Lakers and when you're playing the Yankees and Notre Dame, all these guys, they for some reason you're going to get their best. So from my perspective, with Breece Hall, with Braylon Allen, brought Braylon Miller going down, and you got Khalil Herbert coming in. Justin Fields, QB1, he's going to have to be able to shoulder more of that passing load and really try to move the ball that way. Dallas is tough against the run, and you guys have been a little bit soft against the pass. So I expect them to come out and throw it a little bit more and try to, maybe steal a few yards with that read option. That would be, they're going to get him in the running game. You saw the Monday night game, and Justin Fields shows what he does best. He broke one for about 45, 50 yards. Really, really great run. So I think they're going to make a play off of that. They feel like they are on the right track. They feel like the effort and the things that you want to see from a team is being put on tape. They feel like they're very close. They just haven't executed as well. And but from our perspective, we always lean back to Bill Parr says, you are who your record says you are. Nobody cares what you think and speculate and try to, convince the world of we're getting better. You can't do that when you're 0-4, right? So I think they're desperate and a little bit mentally fragile. If you come and jump on them early, I can see them folding. I can see them laying down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you just, talking about the Jets offense, we've seen the quarterback there, Justin Fields, as far as his development as a leading quarterback, with his time in Chicago, his time in Pittsburgh.
Right.
And just to see him and, he's been in the league for a couple of years, and people are still talking about, he's still learned to allow that to be excused when you have young quarterbacks coming in so quickly and picking everything up. So this
I want to say this. I'm going to say this real quick.
Best assets of an incredibly gifted.
Yeah, I want to say this real quick.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but Justin Fields is on his, I want to say, fifth or sixth head coach, fifth or sixth new offensive coordinator, new pieces around him. And I'm not defending it. I'm not making excuses for it. It's just the reality, right? He is the epitome of what non-continuity looks like, right? So you can't be productive when you have all that change around you every year. So, but go ahead, man. I cut you off.
Yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And so it's not all on him. He's changed around so many times. But it's kind of the gifted a curse. Just it does for you and you execute, then you're always on the move, and someone's always having to be moved around you because it didn't work. Because when quarterbacks start to stick and they start to play well, they become very, very immobile, and immovable, and at that point, teams start to make it work and make it fit. And so, the question is whether or not he will, use what he has gained from the last couple of weeks and try to use that. The Cowboys, as far as their defense is concerned, some moving parts, trying to stabilize back there in the secondary. We talked about it in our recap. They played better against the Packers, even though the score was not indicative of that. But the thing they did better was get the third down. They had a lot of situations where they made the Packers have to execute the offense and move the ball. They were able to keep the ball in front of them, keep the play in front of them. That's the staple of Flus's defense, Eberflus. And so they were able. So the question is, can they carry that forward and keep Justin Fields contained, keep him in the pocket, give him a little bit of a slow rush, stay in your rush lanes, and cover on the back end. So in other words, no scramble drills where you give up any type of lollipops late down the game to obviously to Garrett Wilson, who is really their number one receiver by far. It's not even close. And so that's really what it boils down to. Can you keep him in containment? Because what Justin Fields is as a rush starts to get in front of him, he starts to take his eyes and drop them and stop looking down the field and start looking at the people coming at him and out. The most explosive runner that we've touched and talked and then dealt with so far as the Cowboys side. And the Cowboys don't back in core right now. So it's going to be all about, because DeMar Overshown is not there. Leofau has some speed, but he more likely than not there. So that's what I look at when I see the Jets offense versus the Cowboys defense. The Jets going to look to run the ball. They're going to look to try to control the game that way. Defense, until you show them anything different, they're not going to change. They're going to assume that they can have success stops with your defense. And I think that another week of the cornerbacks with Bland, with Ray Stewart, I think will be a little down in the backfield and so forth. That's what I'm looking at when I look at the Jets offense. You see with the Jets defense, they got some names over there. They got a couple of dudes for sure, but they've unachieved. So what do you see with the Jets defense?
Man, I'm gonna start off with, I call them cold sauce, man. I never really loved Hot Sauce Gardner as a cornerback, and especially as a number one guy. His rookie year, he came in with so much fanfare, and I've never seen such a crowning of a corner that fast, to where they pretty much put him in, Darrelle Revis, Deion Sanders type, Darryl Green type company. And that dude grabbing and clutching and, holding, and I just never saw it. And, fast forward, 2 more years, and I think Glenn went in with the idea of him being a guy who can shut down one side of the field, and that's just not the case. He's a smaller guy. He's long, he's lean, he's angular, but he just doesn't play as strong to me at the point of attack to the football. He has, he gets a little bit too handsy for me, grabbing and clutching, and he's not disciplined with his eyes all the time, right? So I think he gives up a little bit more than Glenn would like. So in order to compensate for that, he actually has to roll coverage his way, depending on the matchup, right? A Mike Evans type, You see the Dolphins come out and they have a day passing the football, and he's not, a guy who you can just lock up and put somebody, and shut someone down. The tackling has been poor. I watched them, and they look very, and it could be, we talk about learning the system. I think they're still thinking and not reacting. They're late to a lot of different, just lining up in the formations and understanding the leverage of the play and the leverage of the defense. So it's really surprising, from an Aaron Glenn led defense, because we saw what he did in Detroit when they got decimated in injuries, and he pretty much put gum, anything toes. He was plugging up holes, man, and keeping them alive during the season last year. And when you look at the Jets, on paper, they have a lot of, some notable names out there that just haven't performed to what I think their level should be. So coming up against the Cowboys, I'm concerned, because it's almost, them, the Cowboys taking a step down. You pay that Packers front four, and, you deal with that the way you guys dealt with it. You only gave up, I want to say, 1 sack last week to the Packers, and their secondary is opportunistic. They're not the best, but you guys go hang 40 on them, no problem, right?
Yeah.
Hot knife meat butter. And again, they come into this situation, and I just don't think they have the horses. Pickens is a big body receiver, and Dak is building, some great rapport with him. You got a great running attack to go downhill on them. I just don't see how they can, match up very well to stop what you guys do well naturally, which is run the football. And Dak, and I've commented on. I think he's playing at a MVP level. Not having CD last week, I couldn't tell. He adjusted. You got Tolbert involved. You got Turpin involved. Ferguson, Dak found him. And when I look at that Jets secondary and the linebackers, I'm just struggling to see, how they can, bottle you guys up consistently to where you can't move the ball. So that's my thoughts on that defense right now, at least the state that they're in the moment.
Yeah, and I'm with you there. I wanna believe that the offense is going to be able to continue on the streak and on the excellent play that is that they've shown so far, and I want to be able to believe that that's going to. The injuries are a little bit of a concern. We may be down another lineman, the concussion protocol. So then you have Nate Thomas is there. But so our tackles are still hanging in there. But Tyler Smith is a little banged up too. So Booker, so he may be 2-3 weeks away. But right now you don't have any relief in sight, and so you got to hold your water. And the thing we have to be able to do is protect our quarterback and run the ball. So I'm looking at that, hoping that continues and that there's some movement there. But I know that there's Quentin Williams he's probably, I would say, maybe slightly bit more athletic than Dexter Lawrence, maybe a little bit less physical, but he's super talented and he's a dude. And so, we're going to have to see if we can run off the edges. They got some issues with McDonald and stuff. McDonald is great at stopping the run, so we're going to have to Will McDonald. So we're going to have to see if we can run on the edges and do some things there to keep the balance and stuff. And I think this is a game where you control it. You try to control the clock. If you can just execute the offense, you're not gonna get Pickens to just slice up Sauce. You know that if they focus Pickens, that other guys should do well. and that's what I'm seeing with the Jets defense versus the special teams on your end. I just think, with Turpin out, I think we're going to see if Jaden Blue is going to see if he can do some things. It's a little
sorry, real quick. What's up with Turpin? Is it the same injury before with the
bit bigger?
the neck?
It's also fast. They're going to probably use him a little bit in that spot, and else in particular with the special teams units.
Gotcha.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling to, like I said, I'm looking at this secondary, and I'm just having a hard time, between Steven, Cisco, and Adams. I just, they just, and maybe I'm answering my own question, right? At some point, it ain't the X's and O's, it's the Jimmys and the Joes, and the reality is maybe even with them, they're learning the system and playing a little tick slower, and the talent isn't there, at this level right now too. So it could be a little bit, when I answer my own question, the reason why they're struggling so bad is, execution related and talent related, and that's evident and clear as to what they, the product that they're putting on the field right now. So you named, like I said, Quinn, Williams and Sauce and Cold Sauce and like I said, Cisco and some of these guys. They got a few big names, but they just don't have what I think to be the talent right now to muster up enough to really control you guys. And if they do, we know, any given Sunday, anything can happen. And we both of us are superstitious in that way. I don't want to minimize them and tell them how terrible they are. And then we don't hear, Sunday night talking about an upset. But I do think, I just like what Shotty's done with the offense. You guys are so buttoned up and so consistent. You don't become one of the top offenses, in the league that quickly without being organized, buttoned up, and highly functional and understanding of what you're trying to do. And the reason why I'm leaning so heavily Cowboys in this situation against the offense versus your Cowboys offense versus Jets defense is because the ability of what I think you guys do well, which is, like I say, really unique. When we talk about the unique blocking schemes that you guys have, you guys are going to bring a level that's not only going to challenge them physically, it's going to challenge them mentally, right? And I don't know if they're up for that challenge. Glenn is talking about, at some point you got to put it on tape. At some point we got to, convert some of these. Stop talking about the miscommunication and the lack of plays and start to put it on, on tape. Hell, it's hard when you got some dudes coming at you with a high level scheme and they're great players too, right? So I'm just struggling to see how they can, for 60 minutes keep you guys at bay with this type of mismatch on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and there's some concerns with even with their offensive line being able to handle the communication side of being able to, just deal with various stunts, various switches, various games play in the front, and you send a delay. You take one guy up to double team or to take up two blocks and something off the edge, off the side, and so some normal from Flus just to mix it up.
Yeah,
a little bit, and but he still, I think he believes that you keep some pressure with Justin to make sure he doesn't get around the edge. I don't want to use a spy because I don't think that a spy is going to be quick enough anyways. I'd rather have a guy out in position versus trying to chase him. I just think that that's necessarily the case. I mean, it's possible that Maris Leofau can just run with him and stay with him, but I think more than anything, you're just taking him out and making it easier for him to find open guys. With the coaching there, Aaron Glenn and Schottenheimer. It seems like Schottenheimer's got a pretty good control and command of the offense. Aaron Glenn's a defensive guy, but he's changing his defense. Defense not the same that it's normally that they've had before with the Jets. So they're kind of having to adjust to more blitzing and so forth because it's different from Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh is more like and so forth. And Aaron Glenn is an attacking style defense, and everyone needs to be in their right spot. So,
well, this is interesting too, and I hope I'm not jumping the gun, but
yeah. So that's I think on your end.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking
as far as the coaches are concerned.
Yeah, I was thinking as you were talking about it, this is Fluce's second bite at the apple, right? With a quarterback that he's very intimate with, that he knows very well, right? He coached Justin Fields for 2 years in Chicago, so if anything, he should be able to know something. Yeah, and I'll say this about Justin: his style of play is built off his athleticism. It was rare where he just beat you with his arm. Atlanta, we played the Falcons, I want to say 3 years ago, where he really put it on tape where he beat the Falcons with his arm, but that's not his MO. So I think Flus, it goes back to what you said, which is doing what, improving, taking another step with this defense to start getting off the field on third down, right? Really put him in situations where you got 22 eyes on him. I don't expect they might throw in a spy every now and again, but when you put the spy on Justin, it also takes someone out of coverage. So I think he's gonna trust the defense to play him similar to what you give with Jalen Hurts, and you guys gave him fits, right? That first game in Philly, he didn't really get off. Right. And a lot of people compare Fields as like a poor man Hurts, right? When it comes to style of play. So I think from my perspective, Flus should, again, I don't want to jinx it, but he came up with a very effective game plan against the Eagles. And if CD catches, 2 of those 4 balls that he dropped, we might be talking about, the Cowboys at 3-1 and was it 3-1 and 1 or whatever that is with the tie 2-1-1. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, this is Fluce's second bite at the apple of a quarterback that he coaches, and this is why you bring these coordinators in, right? We talk about different ways how you steal some wins in the regular season. To me, this is one of those games where the defense should have a hell of a game. I'm not saying that it's going to be perfect. None of them are. But if any game plan should be put together where he finishes it up and closes it up and hands it out to the all his assistants with a smile on his face and full confidence that it's going to work, it should be this one. It should be this one.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. So tell me this: if the Jets win this game, tell me what that looks like. What happens here for the Jets to win the game? And I saw, various outlets, CBS and so forth. They have mixed reviews. I mean, I think the majority of them picked the Cowboys, but several of them picked the Jets to win the game as well. What would it look like if the Jets win the game? What would that look like?
Ball control. They run the ball and control the line of scrimmage. They take care of the football, and they keep the ball away from your offense. I think their best defense is going to be keeping the ball away from your offense. If they can do that and get the defense to get what I call it just being opportunistic. They are at home. A part of me feels like, that could help, but I thought about it and I said, damn, man, Dallas travels so well too. They might turn that into a quasi Dallas game. Where you guys play the Giants. You probably know the split way better than I know it, but I don't think, it's one of the weird situations in the NFL where Dallas travels so well, and your fan
in
base
New York, and New York for sure. There's a ton of Cowboys guys in New York,
right.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's going to be, just completely definite in there, and they're going to have a home advantage, a normal home advantage. But if they can get out in front and control the ball and keep that ball away from your offense, and they got to muddy this game up, right? They need some confidence, and the longer they can hang around and stay close, I think it becomes more dangerous. So I think their plan is to not make any what I call just give up big plays and quick touchdowns. Try to keep you guys in front of them, and try to make this a short possession game where they can steal a victory and try to out physical you guys, because you hit the nail on the head. That's Glenn's style of football. He loves physical football. He might take a few more chances on defense to try to get to Dak, because he's watching the same thing. I don't think you can sit back and in coverage and just expect the Cowboys and Dak to make mistakes. He's not going to do it. That's not his MO. When you played the Bears, even the turnovers that you got against us, 2 of them were unforced, right? And I think one was just kind of desperation, in the moment of trying to get back into the game. And you probably could have ran that in from the 2. So I call it a cheap interception. But victory for them looks like them rallying themselves and having some damn pride and saying we're sick of getting kicked around. We're tired of hearing all this noise. We actually like Aaron Glenn. We want him to be our coach for a while. So I can see them trying to muster up enough courage and fight to play a little bit above their head and try to I call it steal a win and get their first win of the season.
Yeah, that's well said. I mean, it's going to take in to try to kind of accommodate the Jets, if you will, when it comes down to helping them get to this stage.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, some turnovers, some penalties on in the game. I think it's a big deal. You want to get control of the game. The Cowboys really need to minimize the mistakes. I think this is a game where you don't give up the ball, you don't turn it over. You minimize your penalties, you stay on schedule, and then you make the plays that are given to you and take it. And I think you just kind of stay on track to the point where by the time you get to the second half, you kind of take a little bit of a life from the Jets, and they don't really feel like they have hope. But allowed, I think a down dump trucking also, if that's possible. I don't know if it's really possible the way the Jets is right now, and the way the offense is injured. I don't know if that's possible, but not in this situation. So, in the possessions with a kick, get Bradbury in there to make some field goals and just mix it up, touchdown, field goal, and I think that's the best way to get in and out of there. I'm not going to jinx us, but this stadium turf has a bad history with that. They need to fix it. They've talked about this play. NFLPA has addressed this multiple times. It's not the best turf. It's not the best playing surface. But we've gotten in on that. So I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that we get in, play well, get out of there, and we don't have to come back until we see the Giants later on.
Yeah. Yep.
So I like that synopsis there. Just quickly, what do you got for a final score?
Oh man, I think this was is gonna get ugly. So I got you guys 30. I'm gonna go 34-17. Cowboys. I think you guys are gonna have to,
Okay.
not have to,
Right.
but I think you guys will start to
All right.
throttle it
All right.
down. I think you guys will throttle it down.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And I'm gonna give them a little bit more credit when it comes to as far as their offense is concerned, just because our defense has struggled a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 35-24.
Okay.
So I'm going to say 35-24. I mean, I think that our offense is going to be able to post 35 points one way, shape, or form. It's just a matter of, how much they can hold. How much they can hold on the desk and give up any freebies or any easy ones, any layups or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. Making them earn the 24 points is going to be the best way to go, and I think so. So, all right, so we got Jets Cowboys. We got your Bears on a bye, so they getting healthy, getting all ready for the stretch run on the back end, and they're at 500. So hopefully that
Tick tick tick.
there it is, folks.
Here we go. We just buying time, man. I got
So
I got the
my gosh, man,
my football weekend got kicked
it's
off
better than
right.
a bobblehead, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I got my football weekend kicked off right. My son, I got to give a big shout out to him. He got about 12 carries tonight. Put some good film on tape. We got his Hurricanes this weekend. Watch the Cowboys and Jets. So I'm looking forward to just some stress-free, football watching without any, Bears stressing right now. I'm expecting for this game, you guys to make quick work of the Jets. Really, that's my expectation of what's going to happen on Sunday. So, but I did one quick question. I did have one quick question, and you touched on it. What does success look like for you with Flus,
Yeah.
man, and his defense? What does that look like for you? You just piqued my interest. 24 points feels like a lot. Is it just the cleaning up the mistakes that you're looking for? What are you looking for from your defense to kind of show that you guys are taking a step in the right direction against a team that's not as talented? I'll put it that way.
Well, I would like to see, number one, the rallying to the football, a little bit more gang tackling to get off the field. I think there's still going to be a couple of busting coverage, and they'll get some points out of that. Right. And I think that Breece Hall is too good of a running back that, in the way they run the ball, I think they'll be able to have a couple of busted plays that will get them some points here and there. And I do think you can get an extra score on the back end to take it from 17 to 24, and stuff. So I think early on maybe it's a little bit nip and tuck back and forth. They score early and so forth, and maybe get a field goal and so forth, and then get another. And so it's 17 points, and you kind of get control of the game, and then at the end they might get another one in there and so forth, and that's where I get that come from. But I feel like this game where the Jets don't turn it over as far as interceptions are concerned, but they fumble a lot, and so I just feel like if they rally to the ball and get some maybe Maris Leofau get some of his peanut punch in a little bit, because he was really good at that in training camp. The only problem is we can't get damn close enough to a player to punch the ball out. I mean, you got to get close enough to a player to gang tackle and punch the ball out. You know what I'm saying? You can't swing at the damn air and punch the ball out from 5 yards away. So
you're right.
You're right about training that. Camp, everybody walk around with the ball high and tight, so they don't want to get the ball punched out.
Yeah.
And then
they
I
walking
do
around
want
like
to see some of that.
Epps.
Some folks rallying around football, 2 or 3 people, and then maybe can get some punches like this because feel.
Yeah, they walking around like Omar Epps in the program, man. When they sitting in the classroom, man, they punching the ball out of class.
Rallying around.
Oh man, but you know what I want to see from that defense?
Exactly, man. Exactly.
I really want to see a pass rush, man, come alive. I know the Micah hangover is real. I'm not going. You and I both know how integral he was to that defense.
Yeah.
I do feel like this is a game because Justin, his process is a tick slow, right? It's not Aaron Rodgers we're going up against. It's not a Baker Mayfield, a guy, the Jared Goff who diagnosed it quickly. So I'm expecting you guys to have a little bit more time to get to the quarterback. So my key for this defense this week for you guys is seeing if you can get a little bit more pass rush and get some sacks. To me, that'll show. And I think that's going to help the back end too, right? We put a lot of highlighting just the secondary. Fluce's defense is built off pressure from your front four, right? And as much as we want to not get around it, but talk about what's wrong with the defense. Sometimes the most obvious answer is staring you right in the face. How do you fix that? Getting to that quarterback a little bit quicker. Justin Fields is a see it, throw it guy. So he's going to wait a tick longer to make sure the guy's open before he cuts it loose. So if I see you guys get 2-3 sacks on Sunday, to me, that's growth because that's what's supposed to happen against Justin, right? Bring your cornerbacks up a little bit and challenge him in that way to make him make decisions and throw the ball as opposed to running it, right? There's going to be some windows that he's going to have to fit the ball in. So maybe that's why you kind of, lean into a little bit more points because you see you guys taking a little bit more risks. And I can see that happening as well. Garrett Wilson is so small, and I just have trouble with Diggs and some of your secondary. You guys got some thumpers back there. And he's another guy who he got paid. And as much as we try to, deem him a wide receiver one, I just can't buy it, man. He's a very, what I call just, he feels more system-y than a dominant, big X receiver that can control and command the game. And if like you said, I know you say they're not around a lot to punch the ball out. But hell, when they have been around, they've been hitting, So that element, does he and that turf, right? That's one of those things where, I'm looking for your front four to really, really, press the issue a little bit because they can do two things. They can contain Justin and make sure he doesn't, hurt him and beat him with his legs. And then they can get after him and get in his face and make him, impact his throwing and try to get some turnovers that way. So this might be a front four game for you guys, man, where they can make the secondary look a lot better by getting some pressure on.
Well, I'm hoping so, man. I'm really, really hoping so. So we'll certainly be tuning in this weekend to see that. Cowboys Jets this Sunday here, and we'll be doing a recap and so forth. So as we got here, adding more and more content over this season, talking about the Bears, talking about the Cowboys, talking about the NFL, talking about. So looking forward to lots of great stuff here at AM Sports Academy. So we're going to sign off here, connecting with you all again. Thanks once again for all who jumped on, and we'll be certainly showing us this information and content on all our platforms. H&M Sports Academy. We will see you all and have a